As we all know, the war in Ukraine has meant that we have got refugees coming to this country, including early years children, and it's been very interesting to hear from one of our settings, Street Farm in Elmswell, that they indeed have taken and given a funded place to a child from Ukraine. And so I'm very pleased to welcome Lisa, and I'm going to hand over to her and we'll let her introduce herself, and we'll hear her experience of taking a child from Ukraine into her nursery. So thank you, Lisa. Over to you. Welcome to you.
Okay, thank you. So my name's Lisa Pratt and I'm from Street Farm Day Nursery in the village of Elmswell. We run a setting for children from about 6 months up to the age of 8. We offer a holiday club, and we cater for 55 children a day. So we have a little 2.5-year-old who's joined us from the Ukraine.
Lovely, thank you. So can you tell us how the first approach was made to you about the child from Ukraine joining your setting? For example, was it a parent or a host family member or a professional?
Okay, so it was the host family. So we just had a knock on the door and a lady said that she was looking to hopefully take in a family from Ukraine, and did we have any spaces? So we sort of spoke to her about that, and then we didn't hear anything for a little while, and then they came back probably about 3 or 4 weeks later. The host family came back with the family from Ukraine and asked again about spaces. I wasn't in at the time. We did have some spaces available, and at that point we were a little bit unsure whether we were going to get funding. We had read somewhere about the funding, but as a setting we had made the decision that we would fund the place if there wasn't funding, because we felt it was really important to accommodate him. So yeah, so we explained that. We said, don't worry, we've got a space for you, regardless of whether we get the funding. And they joined very quickly, and then obviously we did get the funding.
Yeah, that's really generous of you to be so inclusive as to offer to fund the child. But did the family find out about the early education entitlement before they came to you, and how did they find out about your setting initially?
So they live just up the road, so the host family are fully aware of the setting. It's literally a 2-minute walk, so they probably see it most days when they go out. They weren't too sure on whether they'd get funding at first, so they came and spoke to us, and then I think once the family had arrived from the Ukraine, then obviously they started getting all the information from the local council. The Ukrainian family said to us that they did receive support from the local council, and then now they receive the universal credits.
Oh, I see.
So they're getting some help.
Yeah, so they're getting financial help that way as well. So you are getting funding from the early years entitlement.
Yes. So we get the 15 hours funding. So at the moment they're using that 10 hours and stretching it, and then we're just building it up slowly, so that is going to increase. He's been with us 5 weeks. He's been away a week or so through being poorly, but yeah, so once we get a few more weeks down the line, we'll start to increase it.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Are there any barriers with communicating with the family, and if there are, how are you overcoming these barriers?
So Mum speaks broken English. Actually, her English is very, very good. But we're very, very lucky that we have a member of staff from Latvia. So she's been with us for coming up for 2 years, and she speaks Russian.
Wow.
So what we did do is, before we took the Ukrainian family, we spoke to Julia, our staff member, because she came over as a 9-year-old. So we asked her if she could remember what her thoughts and feelings were on being that little 9-year-old child in the school. So she gave us a lot of information on how she felt, and which helped us to make sure we got it right in the beginning.
Yeah.
So, and because communication can be a real barrier. So we were lucky that Julia could speak to the family in Russian. That was a real help. But also Mum really wants to learn to speak English. So we do tend to speak to her in English, but if we need to speak to her and it's a little bit more in depth, Julia will come across and speak in Russian, which is so far is working out really well.
Yeah, that sounds like it. So that must have been very interesting hearing about her experience as a 9-year-old child, you know, and to use some of those strategies for your, you know, planning how to meet his needs. Is it a girl or a boy?
A boy, little boy, yeah.
So
yeah,
are
definitely.
there any, sorry?
Definitely. Julia was saying when she came over, she was sort of put into a classroom and given no support. There wasn't really a lot of communication with her mum, so that was a struggle. And then she said things got better after about 6 months, when they actually gave her a teaching assistant who would then help her to learn English, because she couldn't speak a word of English. So it was really interesting for us to know that, to introduce Julia right at the beginning, so that the Ukrainian family knew that we had somebody who could support them if needed. Yeah,
like a link person. Very good. Have you used any EAL strategies?
So we've been using quite a lot of our EAL strategy. So I've got some things here to show. So we obviously have Russian and English books. So we have like little books like this. These ones have got just pictures and English words and Russian words. We bought Mum a copy so that she could take it home. So she's looking at the same sort of books at home as what we are in nursery. This is another little one that we've got, the Gingerbread Man, and it says it in Russian and also in English, and you can get them all off Amazon. We also have, so the key person, so Julia, who's our member of staff who's Russian, she isn't the key person because she's in another room, but she does go over and spend time with him. So together they made some little a key fob for the key person, and it's just got like prompts on it. So wash hands, and then it's got what it is in Russian. And Julia, bless her, has done the pronunciation for us, so we can try and pronounce it. So we have those as well. And then in the garden we have, so we have like, we've put up like little posters of numbers, just so that he can feel, you know, see a little few things that relate to home. And the nicest thing that we've got is we have, I don't know if you've seen them, but these answer buzzers.
No.
Okay, so these, what we have is we have 4, and we have one where, so they're just little buzzers, and you record your message.
Oh, I have seen.
Press them and play it. So we've got one where he has it at home, and his key person says, "Oh, can't wait to see you tomorrow at nursery," and then Julia translates it into Russian for him. And then we've got these 3 here, which I won't play because obviously his mum is on there talking. But so we've got one that's, Mum just says to him, if he gets upset, don't worry, I'll be there a bit later, and we can stop and look at the trains, because they have to go over the train line from the nursery to home. So they stop and look at the trains. And then we've got a green one which gives him some ideas of things he can do. So Mum's saying, oh, why don't you go and build something, things that he enjoys doing. And then this one is really sweet, is Dad, who is still out there fighting. Dad talking to him and saying, have a great day, and Mummy's going to ring me when you get home and you can tell me all about your day. So they're for him in the nursery to press when he wants to hear them. So we've got those. Then we've got all the, you know, the usual pictures of the children playing around the room. And then the staff are all, you know, like if they're doing a story time, they'll make sure that he's where he can see them talking. We do Macathon as well. So he's learning little bits of Makaton. So yeah, so we've got lots of EAL strategies in place.
You really have. It sounds absolutely brilliant. Those talking tins or the buttons are brilliant, aren't they?
Amazing, aren't they?
That's fantastic. So you mentioned the other children as well. What are the relationships like? Is he developing any friendships?
Yeah, so he's we're taking really little steps as we go. So he doesn't do a full session at the moment. So he hasn't stayed for lunch, but he has stayed for snack and tea. And he's just started to play alongside the other children. So he's quite confident if there's other children in the sandpit. He loves the sandpit and the diggers. So he will go into the sandpit and play alongside. When he first started, he didn't want to sit at the table with the other children. So that was fine. We just let him do it when he was ready. And then last week he did actually sit at the table. His key person was sitting on the floor next to him, and he's sitting with all the children and eating a breadstick. So, and Mum said at his old nursery in Ukraine, he would never eat there. So we've just slowly, been working with him, and he would take a breadstick off the table, but he would never sit with the children. He'd go sit somewhere else and eat it. But now he's sitting alongside the other children. So we're slowly starting to see bonds that will, help them to start playing together soon.
It's lucky that, that you're providing the opportunity for him to gradually, in his own time, take those little steps. It's marvellous.
Yeah.
So, that there is some additional funding available for refugees. How are you planning to use the funding that you've received?
So the funding that we've received, we're going to use, we've used some for resources. We've spoken to Mum, and there's certain things that he really loves doing at the nursery. So like one, I said he loves playing in the sand with the diggers. So we're going to extend that and buy more equipment for the sandpit. But then also the other children, they can play with it together. We're going to use it to fund Julia, to come over if we need her to come over, additional staffing. Sometimes it's nice to have a one-to-one for him, just so that there's someone there. So we'll use it for that as well. Yeah, very good. What support has the family had from the wider community, if any? So I just thought of another thing that we are using the funding for, to give him additional sessions. He wants to build his sessions up, so we said we could use that to go towards that. With the wider community, we haven't really got too much information about how that's going, but the neighbours have definitely provided them with toys. So when they came over to the UK, the host family had everything ready, and that was because of the neighbours donating toys, helping him out. Isn't it?
So along with that, is there anything that you need from us, Early Years and Suffolk County Council, to help you meet the needs of this and other children from Ukraine? If you might.
I think the funding is really helpful, so that's really good. And I think because we're really, really lucky that we have Julia, I was thinking about this sort of question, and I was thinking that maybe for other settings we could help them out, and you could pass on our details. So if they've got, because it's so, you may have a family who come and don't speak any English, and therefore if there is somebody who can, just for the first few weeks, just translate or chat to them, but understand the early years as well, because that's really important, isn't it? But so I was thinking that maybe another setting could use, phone you, and then you could maybe come to us, and we could work together like that to help the families.
Yes. So you could share your member of staff who speaks Russian, and she could perhaps go and just be a translator, or
just speak to him on the phone, or we can send out some packs. We can make up some little packs of all the things we've got, and send it to them, so that they've got stuff to help.
List of resources that you've been using that have worked.
Okay,
that's really useful, thank you. So linked to that, are there any top tips that you would give other settings who have yet to receive a child from Ukraine?
So for me, it would be the transition is really, really important. Yes. And it's really about going with that family. When our family first came to visit, Mum was really worried about how he was going to react when they went into the room. And at first he was very, very clingy. And this is just on the visit, not when she was leaving him. And after about 5 or 10 minutes, he just was in awe of everything, and he was running around looking at everything, playing with everything. But I think it's then taking it that next step further, like when Mum leaves, you know, let her leave when she wants to leave. If she wants to come in every week for a few weeks, that's fine, you know, very much like we do in normal circumstances. But I think you just have to be a bit more cautious, because they can't always tell you what they want to do. So yeah, and just take it each day as at a time. Don't push the children to do anything. You know, take it really slowly. And the other thing is, don't bombard the parents when you're talking to them, because sometimes you can go information overload. So it's really important just to go at their pace, and always take time and wait for them to reply, because sometimes they do need to think about translating it. And you do find that if you just be patient and wait, they will talk. So that's probably the key things.
That's really good advice. I think it's remembering that there is such an emotional burden on the mother and on the children, the child, you know, and just being aware of that, and take things in their own time, as you said, is really good advice. Lisa, is there anything else you'd like to share with us about this very new experience that your nursery is having?
I think we're looking at the moment, we've just done a share session just before he started, so they missed that, but we are going to look at doing another share session so that Mum could meet some of the other mums. So so we'll look at doing something you know, in the garden, and invite them all in and see if she can meet some other people. She may be meeting people in the village at the moment, so but we're not sure on that yet, but that's something that we definitely want to look at in the future. Just to have a look at my notes and see if I've got anything else I can think of.
Well, you've really given us lots and lots of information. It's been really interesting and really useful, really useful. It is a new experience that you know, this particular group of refugees that you know is going to continue.
I mean, we were lucky that Mum's very open with us. You know, she came, she said that Dad was still out there, and he was fighting in the war, and so she's very open. But obviously some people, that's quite an emotional discussion. So we just tend to let Mum tell us when she's ready. She seems to have a really good bond with the key person and Julia, which is lovely.
How have the other staff responded, and you know, have they needed any special support, or you know, have they?
No, they've really taken it on board. They're a brilliant team. They all work really well together. So where, like with the little key fobs, it won't just be the key person. The other staff will have them and use them, or know where to go and get them. But no, they really work well as a team and support each other, because I do think the key person does need that support. And they've all embraced it really, and it's lovely.
Not a scary thing. It's very
not at all. And he's
in your stride.
He's absolutely a delight, and when you go over and you see him make all these little progressions, it's just amazing. It's really lovely.
And what a weight off Mum's mind that at least you know he's doing well and he's well supported. It's such a relief and such a help for her.
And Mum even emailed today saying that how happy she was, you know, and that he's doing really well. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you feel quite quite privileged being able to help. It is hard. It's when we first listened to the buzzer of Dad speaking, I mean, we didn't know what he was saying until Mum told us and Judith told us, but that it was really hard not to get upset and get emotional. And I know, like, a lot of us did a little bit, because you can't really think about the impact that it's having on them. It's so hard, isn't it, to think that they had their normal lives like we're living, and then all of a sudden everything is taken away from them. And that's what I find really hard. I just think I do not know how they're coping, and even if we can just do a little something to make their day a little bit easier, that's what means a lot.
I like that you say it is a privilege. You know, we're hearing about the war and we're pretty powerless, aren't we, really? But in this way you are able to help really make a difference. And that must be, you know, gratifying and rewarding, so rewarding.
It's very, very rewarding. And when I went over into the room last Thursday, and he was literally sitting at the table eating his breadstick, it was just, you could see all the staff felt really emotional. They were all like, as soon as I walked in, look. So it's lovely, really nice.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you. Well, thank you ever so much for sharing this experience with us and giving us time. And it'll be good to hear how things progress. And so thanks.
Definitely.
Thanks very much indeed, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.